we got bowl games. So starting Tuesday night with the Frisco Bowl, and we're going to go through games until the Saturday afternoon window, and then we'll pick up with the Saturday night window right after that. All right, here we go. The Frisco Bowl, Tuesday night, UTSA versus Marshall. UTSA is an 11.5-point favorite in this game. Now, we're going to go quick on these because, again, they're very hard to predict. We don't know who's motivated and who's not. The guest picker is a coin because I think the coin's probably going to have more success in these games, even though we've done our research here. So this is a crazy one because we didn't go over this on the show because there was so much more news happening at the time. But when Cam Fancher, the Marshall quarterback, entered the transfer portal, Charles Huff, the coach, said the kid was miserable and fans hate him. Now, Huff has come back and apologized for those statements and said, hey, I was projecting and I didn't mean to paint with a broad brush. But basically, he wasn't lying that there was a vocal portion of the very vocal minority in the fan base that was very critical of Cam Fancher. There's not a ton of NIL money at Marshall, and so he went to the portal. And so Cole Pennington, son of Chad Pennington, would be the starter for Marshall in this game. UTSA, Trey Moore is not playing, the edge rusher, who is the AAC Defensive Player of the Year. He is going to transfer somewhere big. Frank Harris, though, is playing his final game at UTSA. They are an 11.5-point favorite. It's a lot of points. But given the situation with the portal at Marshall, I'm going to go with UTSA here. I'm going to pick them to cover. The coin, heads UTSA, tails Marshall. It is a tail. Producer River, write this down. The coin has chosen Marshall and gets 11.5 points. Next up, the Boca Raton Bowl, USF and Syracuse. This is a tighter spread. Don't know what's going to happen, but you got a team in flux with a fired coach in Syracuse. They're actually 2.5-point favorite against Alex Golish's first USF team, which he led to a bowl game in his first season. Now, Syracuse, Garrett Schrader is out after shoulder surgery. Braden Davis, the freshman listed first on the depth chart. Dan Villari, the converted tight end. They were using him in some Wildcat situations. So this could be pretty interesting. Meanwhile, at USF, Byron Brown is coming back. He was a redshirt freshman this year, was a really good quarterback for Alex Golish in year one. I am going to take the Bulls in this game. I think Golish has done a really good job. I'm excited to see what he does with that program from here. So I'm going with the Bulls and getting 2.5 points. Let's see what the coin says. Heads USF, tails Syracuse. We flip it. It is a tail, Syracuse. The coin disagrees again. Me and the coin are getting after it now. Let's go to the Gasparilla Bowl. We're staying in the state of Florida. Georgia Tech versus UCF. This is a 4.5-point spread. The rare bowl game where the two-star quarterbacks, this is a non-playoff game, where the two-star quarterbacks are both playing. Haynes King versus John Rice Plumlee. I am very excited for this game. I have really enjoyed the Haynes King renaissance this year at Georgia Tech. I have truly enjoyed that. You know, he talked about fixing his mechanics after leaving Texas A&M, but he's done so much with his feet, and he's just, it's been really great to watch him grow in Brent Key's first full season as the head coach there. UCF, we've seen them be, we saw them blow a lead against Baylor. We saw them destroy Oklahoma State, push Oklahoma. You don't really know what team you're going to get from week to week. Both these teams have lost players to the portal. I don't really know where to go with this, so I think I'm going to take the points here. So I will take Georgia Tech and the 4.5 points. Heads Georgia Tech, tails UCF. What does the coin say? It is a head. The coin agrees with me. The coin will also take Georgia Tech. I am fascinated to see how me and the coin do on these. Next up, oh boy. Tennessee fans, hold on to your butts. Arkansas State versus Northern Illinois in the Camellia Bowl. Northern Illinois is a 2.5-point dog to the Red Wolves. I know what you're thinking because you probably only watched one Arkansas State game this year, and it was probably the season opener against Oklahoma. That was the one where they lost 73-0. Well, I tell you what, Butch Jones' team, brick by brick, with their 5-star hearts and their they didn't win a championship of life. They didn't win a Sun Belt championship either, but they did beat Texas State 77-31 in the season's penultimate weekend. So I'm not counting out the old Red Wolves. I'm not counting out Butch Jones. He had a heck of a run at the end of the season. Northern Illinois basically changed up their offense midseason. That's how they went 5-2 down the stretch to get into a bowl game. I'm still going with Arkansas State. But what will the coin say? Arkansas State, heads. Northern Illinois, tails. We are flipping. It is a head. Butch Jones has me and the coin on his side. Now we go to the game that Cole Kubelik will be on the call for. The Birmingham Bowl, Saturday at noon Eastern time. Troy versus Duke. And what you're thinking, Duke is a 7.5-point underdog to Troy. Now remember, both of these teams lost their coach. John Summerall from Troy, he's off to Tulane. Mike Elko from Duke, obviously off to Texas A&M. But Duke lost Riley Leonard. That's the big one. Now, Riley Leonard wasn't there all season either. He was injured at times. But the difference between Duke with Riley Leonard, Duke without Riley Leonard was pretty stark. And Troy's pretty good on both lines of scrimmage. So I'm going to go with the Trojans in this game. What is the coin going to do? Heads is Troy. Tails is Duke. It is a tail. The coin selects Duke. All right, we move on to the Armed Forces Bowl Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. James Madison in a bowl game. Remember all of the hubbub about whether they would be allowed to play. There were not enough bowl-eligible teams, so James Madison, even though they were transitioning to FBS, allowed to play in a bowl game this year, just like Jacksonville State was in the bowl game they played in Saturday night. So it is James Madison against Air Force. Air Force obviously started the season very well, kind of fell off as the season went on. James Madison lost their coach. Kirk Cignetti is at Indiana already, but I think the Dukes are ready to prove a point in this game. I am going to go with James Madison, but what will the coin say? James Madison is heads, Air Force is tails. It is a tail. The coin selects Air Force. Me and the coin are on opposite sides quite a bit here. All right. One more. We're going to do 6 of these tomorrow night, too. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl on the blue at Boise State. Georgia State against Utah State. The Aggies are a 3.5-point favorite. Now, quarterbacks Cooper Lagasse and McKay Hillstead both hurt for Utah State. Levi Williams got his first start in their season finale. Will he start again? Blake Anderson has been non-committal about who's going to start. Georgia State, meanwhile, missing a dozen players from the 2 deep from its final game because of injuries, transfer portal, you name it. I am going with Utah State here in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. But what will the coin say? Georgia State is heads. Utah State is tails. Utah State is a 3.5-point favorite. It is Utah State. So we will see how I do against the coin. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.